Yes, I know, I need a haircut. But I just had a bit of inspiration this morning. I received an email from a South African accessory manufacturer saying that he's very unhappy about the way his products, and they're good, are being sold and marketed in Australia. He feels he's getting no market penetration, etc., and wanted some advice on perhaps finding a new distributor. This is not uncommon. So this video is really my helping hand, some free insight, if you like. I've been in Australia for 5 years now, I've been in the industry, can see what's happening, and this hopefully will help any South African company that has products or is planning to get products into the Australian market. Established in 1996, 4xOverland is the world's first global overland expedition channel. Join us as we explore the world by four-wheel drive. Those of you who know me know that I don't pull punches. I'm not going to put honey on this. This is how things are, because I think that if you're still watching, you're serious about taking your South African products and actually making some money. After all, why are we doing this? These organizations are building products because they want to make money. And at the same time get the satisfaction of creating high quality products and seeing them around the world. Great. Here's the problem with most, and I'm going to generalize, okay? Please understand that I am generalizing. There are exceptions. South African companies look for South Africans that have moved to Australia to set up their South African business in Australia. This is a mistake. And the reason for that is that I have seen that there is, excuse the expression, so much bullshit, political crap in the South African accessory industry, in that if you stock our competitors' products, then you can't have ours. And they bring that to Australia, where Australia's, it happens a bit, but it doesn't happen very much. It's not the norm. What the South African accessory companies, except for the big chains, say is, well, it's a good product. We can make money out of it. It's got few comebacks. It's what our customers want. Don't think for a moment that Australians have a problem buying South African goods. It's not true. It is absolutely untrue. In fact, they're looked at, generally speaking, quite highly, with high regard. So don't think that's the good part of this story, is that Australians will buy South African products if they're right for the job. No problem at all. No resistance at all. But now you have this political agenda slowing and stopping business. No, you can't have our products because you've got our competitors' tent, table, drawer system, awning, whatever it happens to be. It's rubbish. So that piece of bull gets, if you take a South African who's been in the South African four-wheel drive industry and they come over to Australia, they're seen as extremely arrogant. I told you I wasn't going to sugarcoat this. They're seen as extremely arrogant because they're trying to tell Australians how to do things in their own industry. It's not the same as the South African industry. It's different. So they find it difficult to adapt because they think their way is better. It isn't better. Why would you, think about it, go to a foreign land and think you know how it works without being actually involved? And why would you take a product and give it to a foreigner in a foreign land? Surely you would give it to a native, somebody who lives there and understands the industry, and surely that would. But that's not what most South African product manufacturers do. It's the first big mistake. Don't give your products to South Africans that have just moved to Australia. It's the worst idea in the world. All right, secondly, your products. Remember this, labour costs in Australia are very high. Not just high, very high. I'm not going to go into the details of that now, but what that means is this. If a product leaves South Africa and it's missing a bracket, okay, say it's for an awning and it's missing a bracket, and then the installer that has purchased it from the distributor then gets this product and they now fit it to a client's vehicle and they go, the bracket's missing. We have to make up a bracket. And it takes them an hour to make up that bracket. That hour to make up that bracket that should have been supplied now wipes out their profit for that item. If that item is not profitable, they won't order it again. Okay, so before you do anything, South African equipment makers, you make sure and you double and you triple and you quadruple check. You have to check, check, check and check again, because the South African products are notorious for being incomplete. Notorious. In fact, it's so bad that some stores say, oh, not interested in South African products. Not because they won't sell, it's because they don't make a profit out of them, because they're incomplete, because the products, the quality control of the products is of a low standard. Far lower than it is in Australia. Far lower, because the Australians know if a product goes out of a factory and it's incomplete, they won't hear the end of it, because that's pure profit being lost in the hands of the final seller. And it's the final seller who's actually doing the selling. And that sounds obvious, but the final seller who's making that final profit is the one that is going to be faced with, oh, there's no bracket, there's a missing bracket, we have to make another bracket. Okay. Thirdly, this is endemic in South Africa. When a product has got an issue, something's cracking, or there's a we're really struggling to fit your product because South African accessory makers do nothing. They don't think it's important. It is more important than any other thing you can possibly think of, because, again, if the fitter is fitting the product and they go, oh, sure, but we now have to spend another hour and a half trying to get this thing to fit. If only the manufacturers had listened to me when I sent them an email a year and a half ago. All we need to do is to take that bracket and shape it slightly differently or something. And normally, and so often, it's so simple. It's so simple. And yet they won't. What is the matter with you, South African equipment makers? What is your problem? You are losing money. You're taking money and you're putting it on the braai. You're putting your South African 50 Rand notes and you're putting them on the braai, because you won't listen to a simple suggestion because you're too arrogant. You think you know best. You don't. Instead of coming into the Australian market, honestly, don't bother. And it's sad, because you're losing out. It's so unnecessary, because it's such a simple fix. Okay. Instructions, fitting instructions. Don't skimp on your fitting instructions. Make them very, very clear. Use photographs. Use photographs. Take them on your cell phone and just print them out. They don't need to be printed in color. They need to be clear. Clear instructions on how to fit this, and get the instructions read by somebody who is unfamiliar with the product. They must check your instructions, not somebody in your factory that has fitted it 40 times. Somebody who is completely unfamiliar with the product, given the components and given the instructions, and say, go and do it, show me how it's done. Do it for me right now. I can't see which way this is. Okay, learn from that. Okay, and don't think this is because Australians are stupid. People who will be fitting your product might not be familiar with it, A. B, labour time is extremely expensive. The more time they spend trying to figure out how to fit it, the less the profit. You have to think about mentally, how can I make this really, really, really easy and fast to fit? What else can I do to my product to make it really, really easy and fast to fit? It's of unparalleled importance in Australia. I think that one of the problems is that again, it's this, what I see is arrogance in the quality of the products. Your products, generally speaking in South Africa, most of them are of a high, there are some poor ones. Most are certainly up there. They're good quality products and respected. A few things you need to sort out: your coatings, your powder coatings. It's very obvious to me when I see powder coatings that come from South Africa and they're of poor quality. And they're of poor quality because the powder coaters skimp on the preparation of the metal surfaces prior to powder coating. What that means is they crack, moisture gets underneath, and the powder coating comes off. Unless there is a perfect adhesion, the powder coatings come off. And so the Australian industry is a bit weary of South African products at the moment because of poor powder coating. To conclude, is there room in Australia for your products? The answer is an emphatic yes. There is no doubt about it in my mind that there is room for products, because some South African products actually in many respects are better than similar products made in Australia. But that's not enough to have success in Australia. Having a better product is not enough. Assuming you have a better product is a bad idea. How do you know it's better in the eyes of the Australian consumer and the people selling those products? Because remember, you've got to sell it to both. You've got to sell your products to the people that are selling them and the customers. You've got two people to sell your products to. Having the perfect product may please the final buyer, the final user, the consumer. It won't please the distributor and the intermediate, if there's a store or something like that, if it's expensive to fit and if there are comebacks. Because think about this, to wrap this up. You have a distributor in New South Wales, and New South Wales distributor sends products to Western Australia, which is as far away from you as is Nairobi. How much would it cost you to return a roof rack to Nairobi from South Africa? How much would it cost you? Would it be worth it, or is it cheaper just to make another rack and send it? One of the problems with fridges, for example, we have quite a few South African fridges here. Only one is really successful. The others are, and they're not particularly successful because the distributors don't pay attention. And I don't know why they don't, but they're not doing a good job with some South African fridge brands, even though the fridges are very, very good. You have a fridge sent by a distributor to Western Australia and there's a fault with it. It's cheaper to send them another fridge than it is to send it all the way back to service in New South Wales and then send it all the way back to Western Australia after a repair. It's cheaper just to send them a new one. So that's what happens. But the other side of that sword is that, well, they say, well, we don't actually want to distribute to Western Australia because it's too expensive. When we have a comeback, we just lose. There goes our profit. Boom! Not only on the fridge we sold, the profit of 2 fridges gone. Phew. And of course, importation through the ports and things like that, at the moment, is strangled because of the challenges of port and supply and demand. The demand is huge, the supply is few. So my last word to you guys in South Africa, if you're not going to pay attention to those principal things, don't waste your time in bringing your product to Australia, because you're going to just, you're not going to be successful. You're going to invest a lot of money and a lot of effort, and you're not going to be successful. And it's mainly because you think your products are better. And what I mean by better is better product, better quality, easier to fit, more profit, etc. All of the things that make a product better. You think they're better than Australian products, or as good. They're not, until you've fulfilled all of those promises. And make sure that the products in the hands of the distributors and the resellers is profitable. Because at the end of the day, that is what really counts. I hope that helps. Good luck to all of you who are planning to come to Australia with their South African products. As I said before, the market is huge here, and the potential for making really good income is there, but there's also a big potential to lose a lot as well. Thanks for watching.